All right. New York Jets lose Thursday Night Football by the score of 37-20. This game is not as close as the score would indicate. I do have Robert Salah's post-game press conference ready to go. So once that goes live, I'll jump over to that. We can watch it together. This was an embarrassing game. I'm not going to get worked up about it as far as like, oh, I can't believe the Jets lost that way, or, doom and gloom. Like, the Jets should have gotten their doors kicked in by the Browns. They're just the better coach team, and you can look no further than just the injuries they've sustained. They don't have quarterback one. They don't have wide receiver one. They don't have wide receiver two. They don't have offensive tackle 1, 2, or 3. They're missing their star running back in Chubb. How are they able to have this type of success and the Jets are left floundering the entire year? The Jets looked unprepared again today. From a statistical standpoint, Trevor Siemian, 32 of 45, 262 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Those stats actually sound better than it actually looked. I don't think he was bad tonight. I think the offensive line was terrible. They were saying something like 1.9 seconds from snap to pressure, or snap to like third fastest in the NFL this season, I think, is what they said. Breece Hall, 13 carries, 84 yards. He also had 9 receptions for 42 yards and a touchdown. Garrett Wilson breaking the 1,000-yard streak for the second straight season, 5 receptions, 50 yards. He got cracked on a play with no penalty, which is absolutely insane. The ball was thrown his direction. How is that not called a penalty in any capacity? Don't understand it whatsoever. Piss poor effort on the defensive side of the ball. Other than Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson, stud. Absolute freak. He's the only reason the last 2 weeks have been competitive. This guy has been an absolute stud the entire season. The best thing I can look at is like, our young core looks awesome. All right, we've got Sal's press conference now.
Wasn't good enough.
What happened in the first half, Robert?
There was a series of some I wouldn't say miscommunication, just slightly off with regards to technique, and but just
Technique?
Just like I said, it wasn't good enough all the way across the board. But I'm looking inward on me in terms of what we could do better on these short week games.
Damn right, you better look inward.
Without Cooper, they probably were going to feature the tight ends, and yet he went crazy in the first quarter.
Yeah, he had the first third and 15. It was a check down. We're just a little bit out of position, and he cuts inside, makes a good play. On the second explosive, it's a shallow cross on the exchange, and we lose our footing. But other than that, so he had those 2 big explosives. But again, he's a good player. But it was more. Feel like it was more in our. We had more control over what we allowed.
Robert, what did you make of Flacco's performance today, and how much of a killer was that 50-yarder when Mike Flynn got him there?
Yeah, they're playing with a lot of confidence. They're playing. They've got a lot of juice, a lot of energy right now. And Flacco is, like I say, in these months he's just going to get better and better. And with the 5th game I believe that he's had, and you can see that he's getting more and more comfortable with the offense. So again, credit to them, hats off to them. He did a great job.
Robert, you guys have 26 penalties these last 2 weeks. How do you explain a stat like that?
I got to figure it out.
26 penalties in 5 days.
Today. A lot of pre-snap stuff, but I got to figure it out.
Some of the penalties, Robert, 12 men on the field, not covering the tackle up, like things that should be fundamental stuff is happening. It's just how do you explain that?
I got to figure it out.
You guys, I mean, you alluded to some like technique things with the defense early on, but I mean, you've referred to this as a championship caliber defense. Shouldn't we be beyond stuff?
No, for sure, and they happen. Technique stuff happens every play, every game, regardless. But we pride ourselves on precision. Obviously, we got to look inward. I've got to figure out what I can do better with regards to the week on these short weeks to ensure that we keep our precision. From a play calling standpoint, were we putting our guys in position to be comfortable with what they're being asked to do? So there's, like I said, there's a lot of things that I'm going to look inward first before I ever start looking at our players.
Do you think you were affected, Robert, by the short week and also that Washington game was a long game, a lot of plays? Did you feel like you guys were tired tonight? Or?
No. It's the third different schedule we've used on a short week, and I just got to keep trying to dig to figure out what's best for our guys and how to get us started faster. Because like I said, I thought the guys came out in the second half and we continued to fight and tried to chop wood. And I thought our offense moved the ball really well against a really good defense. Defensively, obviously, in the second half, I thought we were much better. But that first quarter especially, it just wasn't good enough.
Coach, I know it's an NFL and it's anybody's game, but what separates game plan-wise having to go up against Miles Garrett and his defense compared to other defenses, within the previous 15 games this season?
Miles is, he's arguably one of the better DNs in all of football. He's a game wrecker in terms of what you've got to do to try to negate his ability to make all the plays that he's able to make. So preparing for them, I like to think is no different. Whenever you play a game record, wherever he is on the football field, you've got to be aware of him.
It looked like Mackay was struggling with him a bit. What did you see there without looking at the tape?
You know what? Again, Miles is a phenomenal football player, and he was jumping back and forth, so they're making it difficult to try to target him in terms of from a protection standpoint. But we had our opportunities, and then there was. But at the end of the day, from a coaching standpoint, I'm just going to look at that first, and whether or not we help them enough. And but in a one-on-one battle, obviously Mackay's going to want to win every one. But Miles is an All-Pro football player. He's going to win his fair share.
A couple more. Did you feel like CJ struggled a little bit today? He was uncharacteristic on a few things. Obviously, trying to deal with the tight end there a little bit.
CJ Mosley.
Yeah.
No, I thought. See, like I said, it was. His footing came out from underneath him on the shallow cross that Njoku ran, but CJ was fine.
His hand's a nail injury?
Yeah.
You don't seem, maybe you're not conveying what you really feel inside, but you don't seem particularly angry or upset about it. I'm wondering if you could just share what's really churning inside you now.
I'm not quite sure on the question, Rich.
You don't seem
Do you want me to throw the podium on the floor?
What kind of question is that?
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, man. That was not a good press conference. That was not good. That looks like a coach who knows his ass needs to be on the hot seat. I got a poll question in the live chat. Should Woody Johnson consider changing his mind and cleaning house? Simple question, yes or no. You guys can vote on it in the chat right now. It is a resounding yes. 80% of you right now, over 100 votes on it, are saying yes, Woody Johnson needs to reconsider. I have to agree. You cannot look this bad this consistently. Robert Salah has 17 wins as the Jets head coach. He has 18 losses by 15 or more points. You have more blowout losses on your resume than you do wins as a head coach. That is not good. That is a broken head coach. That is a head coach that knows he done screwed up. He went against a head coach and a team without their starting quarterback, without their top 3 tackles, without their top 2 wide receivers, without their top running back. And they hung 37 points on a championship caliber defense. With the quarterback we had last year. I'll tell you what, man, next week's going to get interesting. I know we heard from Woody that Salah and Douglas are safe. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second. If you go out and you get your doors kicked in by New England, or you look embarrassing against New England, yank the plug. Yank the plug. The last thing I want to see is Joe Douglas and Robert Salah go into a lame duck season no contract beyond 2024. And they feel like their jobs are on the line. Their job should be on the line right now. Should have been on the line all season long based on how other teams have played with their backups. But we were fine giving them a pass. And you know what? For the longest time, I was too. But the last month of football, I don't even know if I could call that football. The last month of showing up at a football stadium with 53 guys, that's what it feels like. I mean, we had a great half against Houston, had a great half against, the Commanders last week, and then have been abysmal in every other game. Every single game that the Jets need to win or need to have some type of life or pulse. I mean, I can't look at Robert Salah, especially in that press conference, and say, that's the guy that needs to lead us into the future. Aaron Rodgers, he's saying he wants 2 more years. That gives me the confidence to go out and find another head coach, find another GM that want to try and win with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants to keep playing. He's got a bunch of money still on the line. He likes Hackett and Salah and Douglas. Sure, call his bluff. Call his bluff and yank the coaching staff out. His legacy means more to him than the jobs of Robert Salah, Joe Douglas, and Nathaniel Hackett. Is he going to allow this Jets regime to absolutely destroy him? Or is Aaron Rodgers good enough by himself and you trust everything else that you've seen from the rest of our regime in this offseason to get it correct? Did you hear that comment? 26 penalties in 5 days. 26 penalties in 5 days. This is not a serious football team. This is a team who has given up. This is a coaching staff who looks unprepared, doesn't know what to do, can't even formulate a good game plan. You're telling me they don't have Amari Cooper and they lose Elijah Moore. I think it was in the first half, second quarter, right after the touchdown. You get your doors kicked in. It's not even competitive. This is an absolute joke. What's the right answer? The Browns. Jerome Ford finishes 5.3 yards a carry. Pierre Strong, 7.2 yards a carry. Kareem Hunt only had 3.1, but he did have the touchdown. Flacco finishes 309, 3 touchdowns and an interception. 19 of 29, Joe Flacco was on the night. That's the first 300-yard game that the Jets have given up in 33 attempts. Part of that has to do with us getting blown out. Quarterbacks don't have to throw on us when we're getting consistently blown out. That is a deceiving stat. That is a very deceiving stat. Receiving-wise, Njoku, 134 yards on 6 receptions. Bastard couldn't get into the end zone. Win me $175 at any time touchdown score. Njoku. Come on. Elijah Moore, 5 receptions, 61 yards and a touchdown. Jerome Ford had 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns on the day. Just an absolute embarrassment. The only player that came to play, Jermaine Johnson. Garrett Wilson and Brees. I shouldn't say it. Those 3 players. Some of the defense looked all right. Look, they had no receivers, so the corners looked fine. I don't know how many receiving yards did their actual receivers had. It was Elijah Moore. And then, they gave up outside. So Elijah Moore had 61 yards. Outside of that, the next best receiver had 8. I think. If that's right. It looks like, because I think it's tight end. So Njoku, 134. Jerome Ford's running back. I think Jordan Akins and Harrison Bryant are both tight ends. It's ridiculous. This team is not a serious team. Not a serious team. What do I want to see moving forward? Hell of a lot better than that. That's what I want to see. Oh, man, this is going to get ugly. Julian comes in with the super chat. Thank you so much, Julian. He says, would you like Kevin O'Connell as a coach for the Jets? Vikings fans aren't happy with him, it seems like. Honestly, I would really like to get like Jim Harbaugh. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys, Ben Johnson, Brian Johnson. There's a few other like offensive coordinators you could throw out there, but I feel like a GM type guy, like if you're gonna can Salah, I think you got to can Douglas too. And I feel like the two of them, you might be able to lure someone like a Jim Harbaugh out from Michigan with the GM head coach responsibilities. I don't know. I think you got to bring in an offensive head coach. You can't win in this league without offense. I would love to keep Ulbrich on this team. I think the defense is good. And I think the defense, when they have points being scored on offense, can hold up on the defensive side. I think this is a team that just gave up, which isn't good for anyone. Not good for the players either, but. Arta Pimpin says, cutting Mosley, Tomlinson, Uzama, Clemens, and Mitchell will get our cap to almost $43 million. So I think you definitely cut Tomlinson. I think you could bring in Runyon, the left guard from Green Bay. He's a free agent for a fraction of the cost. Probably get him for like $5 million. I would make that cut tomorrow. Uzama, cut tomorrow. I would cut Bawden too. $1 million for a fullback you barely use? Get his ass out. Mosley, dude, I was like on board with restructuring Mosley and keeping him around for the Rodgers years that he wants to come in for, or that he wants to remain here for. I don't know. He looked slow. Did not look great tonight. I don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction on Mosley because I feel like the leadership is there. But why on earth do you have Quincy Williams not covering Njoku the entire night? As far as Mitchell and Clemens, I don't know if you necessarily need to cut them. Let them compete in training camp. I mean, heck, just one injury away, right? I think Clemens got to drop weight. I think the weight gain probably did not do him any favors. And Mitchell, we just haven't seen. Not a whole lot, at least. This is brutal. Boys and girls, I'm going to go to your phone calls. So let's do that. I'm going to throw the call-in number on the screen. If you guys want to call in, scan the QR code. I've got Nick and then Lima Bean on the horn. Give me 1 second and let me switch this over. And guys, if you want to help support the channel, since this damn team gives you nothing to watch, support the sponsors of the channel. Underdog Fantasy, baby. Use promo code JETS247. Get $100 match on your first time deposit. Try to win some money. So we ain't winning any games. Or nothing meaningful, at least. All right. Top over. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Ron.
Dude, what did we watch?
He did it again. Salah did it again. Costing points time and time again. Even the Zerline field goal, right? Even the block, I put that on him. Who gets a delay game on a field goal? That's indecision in the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Dude, it happens like constantly. It's always this stupid shit like that. Like, and it's timeouts taken when you shouldn't be taking timeouts. It's pre-snap penalties. We had 12 penalties tonight. It's insane.
And even that call, I'm sorry, I know we got the 12th man call. I don't buy into that they were going for that play, that call.
Dude, that was not going to work anyway. We got very lucky. That should have been like a turnover on downs already right there.
That drove me crazy because that's a decision. You're down by 3 scores. You still need the field goal. Time is of the essence. Take the points there. You have 2 minutes that you could save because we ended up kicking the field goal anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Not to mention, we had the punt earlier in the game where it was like that punt on, I think it was their 42-yard line. Like, what are you doing? Why are you kicking? You're down by like 3 scores. Like, fucking go for it.
And why is Izzy Abanaconda? I get he's fast, but Gibson's got to be the returner. That's another coaching
Gibson
decision.
hasn't had the best hands as far as kick returning catches either. And like, so I don't mind trying Izzy. I do like that they benched his ass as soon as he fumbled. It just sucks that it happened because I have high hopes for Izzy. He just has not lived up to him so far.
Yeah, but on a kickoff, like, yeah, even if he fumbles it, you're not likely to turn it over unless you're, stripped of it, right, on the
Yeah.
return. So, I mean, just those small decision points here or there. This game could have been a one-score game where you have a shot to win it with good coaching, and that's all on Salah to me.
Dude, the defensive players that dropped interceptions, that's a focus issue. I mean, heck, we got a turnover on downs. There should be at least 3 more points on that board. There should be at least 40 points.
Yeah.
They could have definitely gone in for a touchdown, too. We weren't really stopping much. Brutal. Nick, thank you so much for the... Been ejected.
You're out of here!
Let's go over to Lima Bean. How you doing tonight, dude?
I don't know. I'm kind of numb at this point. Like, it's just like in the beginning, it's one thing when Aaron Rodgers went down, all the worst fears happened. Like, just was, but you kind of get like that false hope, like, maybe something could happen, just something positive. But, I guess the highlight of the season was the Eagles win because we finally got that monkey off our back. So it's one better than nothing.
Dude, seriously. I mean, what really irks me is I have this sneaky suspicion that we are going to, we're going to lose next week. And we are going to look back at last week's game and we'll say that game cost us the 3 pick. I think that's what's going to happen.
I mean, I have a funny take about the draft, but I'll say that for your call-in show at some point. But like, it's more like I'm kind of sick of draft tanking because it's just like, for example, the Texans, they fucked up their draft tank but they still got C.J. Stroud, with their 2nd overall pick. Instead,
Yeah,
they
but
wanted
that's lucky.
Bryce
That's a Panthers fuck up more than it is a Texans win.
But the Texans would have drafted Bryce Petty. That's who they wanted. They got
Young.
stuck with Stroud. Bryce Young. Sorry, Bryce Petty.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. Like, you hit on the quarterback.
It's a lot about luck, man. Like, it's and development too. Like, my 3 points is Becton sucks ass. The coaches that need to be killed the most is the offensive, like, running. Obviously, Hackett sucks, but like the offensive line coach, like that guy what's his face? Like the guy who came from Tennessee Titans. He needs to get grilled. Like he sucked
Keith
all season.
Carter's got to go.
Yeah,
Downing's
like I mean,
go. I think
why didn't we get Bill
Reese
Callahan? Look, he's on the Browns. Look what they're doing with like their injured offensive tackles. Like and then second, the thing about the draft I want to say is we always do this one thing where we draft one offensive guy. And they're like, oh, we're done. Go straight to defense now. Like we got Mims in that wide receiver heavy draft. Like, oh, defense time. Like we gotta like double, triple, quadruple dip on the draft.
We got P. Ryan. Are you saying P. Ryan was not up to snuff?
I mean, I know he's Green Bean boy, but like it just sucks. Like him and Yaboa, Green Bean would have like a whole party with. But like I can't do it, man. We got to get like legit offensive guys, like wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line for days, like free agency in the draft. That's all I would. I mean, our defense had a bad game, but considering like 90% of the games they've been pretty good, we gotta overdo this offense. Like that's what it comes down to, and the offensive line coaching.
Oh, 100%. I think you got to OD on offensive linemen, wide receivers, but I don't know if anything gets fixed with this current regime because I don't think this team is as bad as it's currently looking right now.
It's not, but at the same time, it's like offensive line coaching. Like if I have to fire someone and Hackett had to stay, it'd be that guy.
For sure. I would get rid of passing game coordinator. I would get rid of everyone except Hackett. I would clean house. I would promote Hackett to assistant head coach so we could take fucking offensive play calling away from him.
That's what I would promote him. He would go to the front office. He would get Joe Douglas his coffee. That's what he would do, But we'll give him like a fancy title. Like he would be a token guy.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. You've been ejected.
That's it. You're out of here.
That's got to be the play, right? Just let like let Nathaniel Hackett get promoted to like professional coffee getter, and like. Aaron Rodgers, coffee getter. I don't know. I don't know how you consistently look unprepared all the time. Like on short weeks, we are 0-3. Dallas, Miami, this one, friggin' Browns. All short weeks, all losses. After bye weeks, we don't look good either. This is a mini bye. We got 10 days before the Patriot game. You think we're going to look any fucking prepared for that game? Oh, man. I'm, like, not even, like, mad, really. I'm just, like, it sucks because I was at a point where I was like, you know what, I'll defend, Douglas. I'll defend Salah. But the last, like, month and a half, it's really friggin' hard to do that. And then I go see Connor Hughes tweet today, like, just like an hour ago, not even. And he's saying how the draft where the Jets took Becton, the next players on his list were not Wirfs and CeeDee Lamb. It was Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs would have been the pick instead of Becton. Now, I'm not saying the same thing happens that happened with Ruggs in Vegas, but like character concerns much for like those two players in particular? What the hell are you doing? The evaluation process that I'm seeing right now, it's just rough. It's rough. I know Salah can only do as much as he can do with whatever Douglas gives him, but man, I see a lot of other coaches doing a lot more with a lot less. That is really rough. Let's go into some of your comment questions. Frank C says, anybody who wants Bobby Salah back must want to strip him down and rub baby oil all over his bald head. He's useless. Lee says, I don't understand why Woody unequivocally committed to this regime. I love Salah as a person and a leader, but he now has the stink of losing. Time for an offensive guru. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean, this team looks bad. They look bad. They look unprepared on a week in, week out basis. All right, let's go over to Lee. Lee, how you doing tonight?
I am doing terribly. How about you?
Dude, I can't even say I'm like doing terribly. I'm just like frustrated because like I don't want to see this regime back at this point. They look constantly underprepared.
It's really remarkable. You know, I don't understand why Woody unequivocally came out and gave them a vote of confidence when, you know, I love Salah as a human being. I love him as a leader. I love his story of how he got involved with the team after the tragedy involving his family with September 11th and how that inspired him to get into coaching. I love everything about the man. But at some point, we can only go out and lose by double digits so many times before we're fed up, right? And before he and this whole regime carry with them this stench of losing, which I think that we've been dealing with for so long. The only silver lining, frankly, is that it led me to this channel because I needed some form of solace to know that there were like-minded people who are just suffering as I am.
Dude, there are a bunch of miserable bastards that have no like good taste in football teams that are all here together, just commiserating. Dude, misery loves company. But
it's amazing. You know, my dad is from New York. I live in California. And I love this channel because I feel like it connects me with fellow Jets fans because I've always lived in Los Angeles, so I haven't had that community. But sometimes I'll just turn to my dad and I'll say, "You couldn't have made me a Giants fan."
Yeah,
you know?
something different. Like, why'd you like green? Oh,
right,
man.
exactly.
You feel like year in and year out, it's just like it's got to get better at some point. Like statistically speaking, it can't be this bad again, can it?
We are really creating some amazing counter evidence to the law of averages here. But you know what? Like it every year it gets to there's like this cycle of grief where at first I'm like truly miserable, and then we get to the point in the season where like tonight I was just watching with my girlfriend and I'm just laughing. You know, I'm just like sort of laughing at it's very casual. It's like I can't decide, do I want them to lose for the draft pick? Do I want them to win for momentum? And either way, I'm disappointed. It's like no matter what happens.
That's how it happens. I mean,
I tell myself that it's a win-win, but it's actually a lose-lose. So that's where I'm at with it. But I watch your show all the time. I love your content. I had to call in tonight, and I really appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Of course, always welcome to call in, and I look forward to at least the off-season stuff. My channel winds up being more popular in the off-season purely by nature of our damn team. Lee, thank you so much. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Although, Lee, I do have to say, I might have to question your girlfriend for dating someone with such poor tastes in fucking football. I'm kidding. Dude, this team drive you up a damn wall. Rocco, thank you so much for the super chat. I don't see a comment attached to it, so I appreciate it. If I see the comment in the chat, I'll throw it on the screen. Just throw it in there for me. Not Your Average Show says, why not play Ruckert and Kuntz all night? Well, Ruckert's in concussion protocol. I didn't see Kuntz on the field, but I think he was active. Rodgers can't be the guy to coach the Jets. We've surrendered enough to his wants. Salah is staying whether we want it or not. I don't know if Salah's safe. I think they could make a strong decision in the next week. Tyson says we picked the wrong 49ers coach. So apparently, like, we wanted McDaniel as our OC. Like, Salah was head coach, but we wanted McDaniel as the OC. But the 49ers, after Salah got hired, promoted McDaniel to OC. So, like, he wasn't going to move cross-country to go be OC for the Jets when he has, like, he can work under Shanahan. So we wound up getting the running game coordinator in LaFleur. Is that what it was? Passing game coordinator? What the heck was he? No, running game coordinator was McDaniel, right? And passing game coordinator was LaFleur. Man, now I'm losing my whole damn mind. Sucks. We suck. WM says, D is elite, man, but you got to fix that offense. Pointless having a great D when you have when you can barely put a drive together longer than 2 minutes and the D is out there 80% of the game. I don't know how. I'd have to look at how many snaps this Jets defense has taken over the course of this season, but it has got to be a ton of snaps compared to other people. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Let's see. Did Rocco get another comment in there? I didn't see it, Rocco. Dude. Not good. Not good. All right, let's jump back over to Lima Bean. Lima Bean hopping in with another comment. What's up, dude?
Yeah, I'm double dipping like the way we double dipped with defensive ends. I'm just saying. I just wanted to give you one silver lining for the Connie Hughes tweet, just as the best positive I could offer you, because I'll be like, when I was visiting my parents for Christmas and I saw your post game and I kind of like laughed my ass off that you screaming and crying. Christmas, like, damn, like I just felt bad just at that
Dude,
point.
I don't go like over the top too often, and that one just pissed me off so much.
I mean, as crazy it sounds, I want to win. Like, my tanking got out once. Like, once we beat like the Rams that year, I was like, we can't tank when we had to. What's the point? You know, like, I got to see these guys win. Like, even today, I was trying to root for them to win, but it was more in the point of so. With the Connor Hughes tweet that Henry Ruggs was next on our board, the one defense I will say is for 2020, we were using McCagnon's scout picks because it took 1 year to replace all the scouts to get JD scouts, and then that's when we got AVT and Michael Carter, obviously the bad pick being Zach Wilson, but you know, the 49ers wanted him too. They picked Trey Lance instead, and he was worse. So, I mean, that kind of tells us how bad that is. But yeah, we were using Mike McCagnon. That shows you how bad Mike McCagnon scouts were. So just putting that out there. Becton was all Mike McCagnon too. I mean, I know Jody's an O-line guy, which scares me sometimes, but like,
dude, Becton's the worst. He's like the worst offensive lineman in the league. It's not even like tackle.
I don't know,
most
man. I just
sacks
want
in the league.
someone needs to give him.
League.
Someone needs to go to Dunkin' Donuts, give him a 12-pack, and just let him leave. That's it. Like, it's just that's how it goes.
Dude,
like big.
He shouldn't get on the bus. Like, they're leaving the stadium. Like, sorry, Becton. Take Highway 77. Go to the closest all-you-can-eat diner.
I know, terrible. Man. It's just. I don't know. We got a lot of draft things to do. Do you want them to win next week or not? That's the question. Because like I'm so conflicted. Like, yeah, on one hand the draft pick, but on the other hand, I can't take another loss to the Pats. You know, like
so
I want to send Bill Belichick some way.
I think it depends how it looks. I'll give you a better answer come Monday once I see what happens with the rest of like the Tankathon rankings. Because if a loss gets us like pretty high up there, then I'd probably lean more on the loss. I don't think. I want whatever hurts the Patriots fans more, honestly. Like, I don't. If it's a win for us and they're upset,
a win would hurt them more because they're all done with Bill like over there, so they don't care about his legacy. They're like, we got our 6, we're done, move on.
But a win against us would hurt them.
No,
more,
like if they won, it would hurt them. That's what all like I've been
Yeah.
seeing from Patriots fans. Like they're done with Bill. Like it's kind of funny. He won them a lot of things, and they don't like him. They like his winning, but they don't like him as a person up there. So
Ah, he's a douche nozzle. He writes his, he cheats and then he writes his resignation letter on a napkin. Guy's an asshole.
That's
Lima
just
B,
for us.
thank you so much for the call.
You're
Been
outta
ejected
here.
from the cockpit. Let's go over to Matthew. Matthew, how you doing tonight, dude? Matthew, it says you are muted. You've muted yourself. Matthew going once. Matthew going twice. Boom, Matthew, figure it out. Call back in. Blitz Crew. Coming to the super chat. Let me throw this up here real quick. Rocco drops another $1 super chat. I still don't see a comment in there. If you're going to put in a super chat, before you hit enter, there's a little line above the dollar amount that you can enter a chat. I'd love to answer your question. But thank you all the same. Blitzkrieg comes in and says, we'll be cheering for the win next week. Won't be sad if we lost. Just want a top 8 pick so we can hopefully get a top offensive tackle. So right now, as it stands, we would need other teams to lose or to win in order to move forward. So the Jets right now, technically they are at 8, but if Chicago loses and matches our record, they would be in front of us because of strength of schedule. So right now we need the Titans to win, the Bears to win, the Chargers to win, and then we need the Giants to win 2 games. I don't think we're going to leapfrog the Giants at this point. I mean, at least strength of schedule right now. So I guess it's going to change a little bit. It's so tough to tell strength of schedule with all the games. Going into the final week, you should know because most of those are division games the final week of the season. But right now, Jets sitting at 8. If you could sneak up like 2 more picks, I'd be feeling pretty good. Top 10 is not bad. Got to be able to come out of this with either a tackle or a top wide receiver. As far as cheering for a win or a loss, I don't think I'm going to go into this game next week super hardcore feeling one way or the other. This isn't like the Washington game. After losing the Washington game, winning the Washington game, I lost it because I obviously wanted a different thing. But after the Washington win, it kind of knocked all our hope around. Now what's really going to hurt, so the Jets are at 6 wins. If somehow like New England, Washington, or Arizona wins, well, New England's facing us. So let's say we lose to New England the final game of the season. We'd be picking in front of them. Washington would have been behind us. We'd be picking 3. If the Jets wind up losing next week to the Patriots, the Washington game cost us the 3 pick. Not going to harp on it. Just going to bitch a little bit. Do I want to beat Belichick? I do. Do I want to end the streak? I do. I don't know. I don't want to hand them their quarterback, but I kind of don't love Caleb Williams or Drake May. And like the further New England slides down, they might get like Jaden Daniels, which is a little more frightening for me. I think he's a much scarier prospect than the other two. Man. Just brutal. Fucking brutal. DeWedge says he also won more Super Bowls than anyone. Go Belichick. Screw Belichick. Joe S. says Belichick will screw the Jets again by losing this Sunday. The nice thing about Belichick on his way out is he's going to want to screw over the Patriots as much as possible, and I think he's going to be really trying for the win. DeWedge says Battle of the Tankers. That's what next week's going to come down to. It's going to be rough. Not looking for that. That's like the theme of this postgame. Rough to look at. Jimmy Jets says, if the Pats blow us out, I can see Rodgers going to Woody and demanding the house gets cleaned or he retires. I don't think Rodgers is leaving that much money on the table. I think he's definitely coming back. He's not going to go out with an injury. But I think there is a very, very strong likelihood if the Jets get their doors kicked in by New England next week that everyone's gone. You have to, I think, at that point. The Jets really lost the Washington game, Ryan, last week. That's what I was saying. People were saying, Ryan, you're a bad fan. You're cheering for losses. No, I want the best possible situation for the Jets, which just so happened to be a loss. You tell me if that momentum's carrying over anymore. Professional certified hater says, why does your team commit so many penalties? Answer, I got to figure it out. My brother in Christ, the season is over next week. What do you mean you got to figure it out? Dude, the Jets were the least penalized team going into, I think it was like week 3 or 4 in the NFL, and have been an onslaught ever since. And I don't know if it was since the bye week. There was a stretch there from like the Giant game where it was like 8 penalties, 9 penalties, 8 penalties. We've had double-digit penalties the last 5 days. You're talking 26 penalties in 5 days. That's nuts. I mean, they call it 2 weeks because it didn't have to be on a Thursday. But, like, talk about just unprepared consistently. I said it earlier in the stream. Robert Salah has 17 wins as a head coach. He has 18 losses of 15 or more points. He has more losses by 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. More losses than he has wins. Dude, Robert Salah looks like a dead man walking. When I see that post-game press conference, that looks like a coach that cannot figure it out. He doesn't have any more answers. He's used all the coach speak he has. I have a hard time looking at this team as it's currently constructed and feeling any kind of confidence going into next year with the decision makers that are going to be in place. Robert Salah, lame duck year. Joe Douglas, lame duck year. Do we really want those guys with their back against the wall spending the 2025 first, moving the cap space in 25 and 26, pushing all their chips into the center? Are they actually going to be signing good contracts, or are they going to be panicking and trying to make anything happen? I don't know how you watch what Robert Salah and this coaching staff has put on display. Whether you want to call it and blame the fan, or not the fans, blame the players for just not playing, it's got to fall on Salah or Douglas or both. Either it was a poor evaluation from the GM or it's a lack of motivation from the head coach. Blitzcrew says Lazard was speaking the truth. What did Lazard say? Talking about like we were out schemed, I think is what you're saying. They look like they were out schemed. Professionally certified hater said, Ryan, last week's win is the equivalent of us beating the Rams to lose out on Trevor Lawrence. This organization is a joke. I have been saying that, and people have been ripping me for it. And I'm sorry. I'm going to give you my honest opinion every damn time. I told you guys a year in advance that Jamal Adams was going to get traded. I'm pretty decent at reading tea leaves here. When I was upset about that Commanders win, I know a lot of people were too. But shockingly, our poll question on Tuesday night said 75% of people thought it was a positive win. How positive are you feeling now? I agree with you. PC hater. All right, let's go over to JT. JT, how you doing tonight?
I am doing probably just as good as you are tonight, Ryan. That was a rough one, dude.
Seriously, like what? Can we come out less prepared on a consistent basis?
Dude, it's honestly frustrating. Like, I was expecting like a gritty, like 16-6 Cleveland win. I wasn't expecting some blowout. Joe Flacco to absolutely torch us. Like, oh man, that was rough, dude.
Dude, what's funny is when you look like a few weeks ago and you go back to the like, oh, we might get Aaron Rodgers back or whatever. You could almost pencil in like, okay, Jets aren't going to show up against the Dolphins. Then like I thought we were not going to beat the Texans. I was surprised by that. Then you're just going down the line and it's like, man, if you had a right like worst case scenario, the Jets are going to screw it up during the Commanders game. And then they're going to get their doors kicked in by their former backup quarterback against a team that has just as many injuries as we do. And then we're going to go into the final week of the season. We're going to win that. We're going to screw everything up. And then everything's going to be, it's the offseason. It's fine. Rodgers coming back. Just don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I really want to get hyped for next year at this point, but it's just so hard. I mean, we all saw Salah during that press conference, man. He looked defeated, absolutely defeated. Like, no other way to say it. He looked done, man. I
You think
mean,
he gets canned?
I don't. I do think the Rodgers pass holds up no matter what happens, to be honest. I think we need to spend this offseason absolutely loading up at line. Like, I want at least 2 free agents and 2 draft and 2 linemen
I
drafted.
agree.
We need at least 4, at least, in this offseason.
I mean, you got to figure. I think Runyon from Green Bay is probably coming over. I think there's a good shot Bakhtiari's coming over. Then
Unfortunately, and it's injury prone.
Yeah, I mean, I saw an article, and it was posted by the Packers, but there was some sort of doctors like in his last surgery, not the most recent one, but the surgery before that, removed like 10 or 15% of the swollen tissue that was like an issue, and then I guess they went back in this most recent surgery, and this is supposed to fix whatever the problem was for the last 3 years. Now, I don't know. If you're on an incentive-laden deal, Bakhtiari's like one of the best tackles in the NFL. So I'm okay on an incentive-laden deal, but you got to have someone backing him up, and I think AVT would probably be the next option at that point.
I can get behind that if he's like on an incentive-laden deal where, you know what I mean, if he plays, I don't know, 66%, like that, like a Rodgers type of thing, plays 66% of the snaps.
You're just on the field. Just say like, hey, dude, you're on the field. You're getting paid $20 million a year. But you're off the field. You're not getting paid. Like, sorry.
He's got to last a couple of games.
you just got each game. You $20 million, whatever it is, or you want to call it $17 million. You know, make it easy. $1 million a game for every game you are actively on the roster for, like, you know, not injured. You're actively on the field. $1 million every game. Just stay healthy.
Now, real quick, what do you think about AVT? Like, he's had 2 freak injuries, in my opinion, an Achilles and a tricep tear. Do you think, like, it's just, like, he just has a bad luck, like, career? Like, because they're 2 freak injuries on different parts of the body on the same field. Like, that's wild to me.
So I have to see if I can find the tweet that I put out the other day. It was from Glenn Naughton, and it was just talking about the Jets' bad luck. Give me 1 second, and I'll find it. Come on, Glenn. I will find it. That's what happens when I just
While you're looking for that, Becton absolutely has to go.
He's booty cheeks.
I was hyped for him this year, man. I was hyped for him to prove everyone wrong. Didn't have faith, but I was hyped. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like the revenge story. But
dude, I was the same way. I thought, like, you know what? He stays healthy. He's good. It's like, this is going to be like fun and like a good offensive line. He's going to throw people around, even in the running game, even if the pass game is like not perfect. And that
he
just
started off mauling people too.
Like,
he did, like in the first,
and then
like,
he just decided to cause penalties nonstop and like fucking, I don't know. He just can't do anything. I'm going to find this. Give me 1 second. It was within the last like little bit here. It was like unreal, the amount of bad luck. Okay, here we go. Not saying that the Jets are cursed. However, Aaron Rodgers, between 2018 and 2022, 0 missed games. Since 2023, he has missed 17 since joining the Jets. Elijah Vera-Tucker, before joining the Jets, 3 missed games. Since joining the Jets, 22 missed games. Mekhi Becton, before joining the Jets, 2 games missed. Since joining the Jets, 33-plus games. Chuck Clark, 0 missed games in 3 years. Comes to the Jets, misses 17 games. Misses the whole year. Dwayne Brown, 4 missed games in 3 years. 4 years. 17 missed games in the 2 years with the Jets. Cam Clark, 2015 to 2019. Played in a school record 48 games, including 30 in a row. The first time he comes to the Jets, career-ending neck injury, 0 NFL games played. Unreal.
And some of these you
Unreal.
can't even say like get a new strength and conditioning coach because like they're freaking injuries. Like
It's
it's
unreal. Unreal. And as far as AVT goes, I don't have a whole lot of faith that he's going to stay healthy just because like shit just goes wrong for us. I feel like you got to pencil him in as a starter because you can't get 4 brand new offensive linemen in one off season. But man, I am struggling to find some positives right now. Dude, JT, you've been ejected from the cockpit. Let's go over to Shane. Shane, how you doing tonight?
Hi. So I was happy the Jets beat the Commanders last week for one reason.
Okay.
If the Jets team is so bad that they're going to lose to a team like the Commanders, they're not one draft pick away from being a Super Bowl team next year. You know, I'd like to imagine that the Jets are a team that you revamp the offensive line, you have a healthy quarterback, they can compete for a Super Bowl team next year. If they're so bad that they can't beat a team like the Commanders, one draft pick isn't going to change that in a season, you know?
So I get what you're saying. My issue with that is that the pick they fell from, if it might end up being the 3rd overall pick. If we wind up losing to the Patriots, the 3rd pick that we lose, falling from the 3rd pick down to the 8th or 9th pick is more than a first round pick worth of difference. So like we have lost one 5-year player that we could have traded down. And realistically, if you're top 3, there's a good shot you could have traded down for a quarterback because Marvin Harrison Jr. might go 1 or 2. So like there is a haul sitting there for the New York Jets to trade back, but getting that win eliminated that. Now, and it's not even just the first round. It's every successive round after that too. So remember, you're top of the 3rd round, you're top of the 4th round, and it just keeps going on and on and on.
Absolutely, like it's the top 3 pick is so much value in that. But I think 2 weeks ago, my thought was the Jets are a good enough team; they're going to win one of these final games. Like I didn't worry. I kind of accepted that. I think. After the Texans.
I was fine with the first half of the Commanders game. If you won the Commanders game convincingly, I'm okay with that. I wouldn't have even lost my mind. The fact that you blew a 20-point lead and needed all things to break the right way to get the 55-yard field goal at the end of regulation against the worst team in the NFL, the worst defense in the NFL, a team that traded away their 2 best defensive players just to tank even worse. That's
absolutely
so bad.
And this is going to sound like I am going to complain about the refs, but the Jets got screwed with that pass interference call in the end zone.
They did. Quinn, I think it was Quinn, also whacked Flacco in the face. I think it was on the touchdown pass to Jerome Ford, and it wasn't called, which I guess doesn't necessarily matter because they scored the touchdown anyway. But 12 penalties, we're doing something wrong. This is a lot of pre-snap stuff. This is bad. Shane, thank you so much for calling. You've been ejected.
You're out of here
from the cockpit. Oh, I'm excited for this call. How you doing tonight, Jake?
Ryan, how you doing, man?
Fucking fire everyone. I hate everyone right now. Dude, this sucks.
I don't even like saying how you're doing because I feel like this is such a rhetorical thing to ask. But I didn't even watch the game. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I didn't even watch the game. I was in Jersey. I was in Jersey buying liquor for myself. I was celebrating a big thing with work, so I was better matters at this point. But I'll just put it this way. I heard about Flacco making some whatever plays, and the defense could have got some interceptions, but Kevin Stefanski won with Joe Flacco. Can we emphasize that more and more and more and more and more and more? Because what did he do with us last year?
Oh, dude, I already said this. No quarterback 1, no tackle 1, 2, or 3, no wide receiver 1 or 2, no running back 1 for the Browns against this elite defense, and they won in very convincing fashion. This is 100% on coaching. Our team is not as bad as what's being on display week in and week out by Robert Salah.
Everybody's coming back.
Dude, I kind of hope we get our teeth kicked in by New England in the final game of the season, and it is so embarrassing that they just get a new regime. I don't trust this regime going into a year with a lame duck season where they got to have their backs against the wall and they're going to give up the future picks. They're going to give up the future dollars. Like, as a fan, I don't want to see it. I'm not about it.
Man, you got more fire than me tonight, man. I love seeing this in you for a change.
I mean, I'm not even like upset at the game, really. It's just like, this is incompetency at such a high level from the regime. We've had 17 wins from Robert Salah, and we have 18 losses by more than 15 points.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
This is a season this year that I said this now for like the majority of the season was what's going to happen when Rodgers is not here and you say, is Robert Saleh the guy you're trusting to draft the next quarterback with JD and knowing what to do? And they thought Zach Wilson was that guy. Well, it failed, crash and burn very fast. You can tell that he does not know how to handle another young quarterback. He doesn't know how to handle adversity when the backs are against the wall. He doesn't know how to get angry at his team. He doesn't know how to have a good game when his defense is struggling. I mean, I go on and on and on, baby. The fact is that right now, this year's a preview of what it will look like when Rodgers is not on this team anymore, because they have asked him at this point to come in and say, hey, can you cool the temperature down when everyone's mad at me? Can you please come in here and make sure Zach is okay and his ego's not hurt, even though we had to pat him on the shoulder when he had a mediocre game against Kansas City, not this amazing game that everyone talks about. So that's the point. Right now, you see, and the most important fact, let's just say this and let's be clear here right now to the entire NFL fan base. You're not going to win with a defensive-minded coach unless everything works. Okay? Kevin Stefanski's playing with his third or fourth quarterback this year, and he's going to go to the playoffs, and he might have a chance to shock Lamar Jackson. Yeah, that's right. The Ravens could lose to the Browns because they're a rivalry team, and Joe Flacco knows that team. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you put your faith in a defensive-minded coach. They put everything on defense, and then when it comes to offense, you're putting your faith in a coordinator. God knows if they're going to get it right. Who knows? But the bottom line right now is everything has to fall in line next year with Rodgers being healthy, who God knows if that's going to happen. Let's be honest here. With this offensive line, with Fatty Magoo-Becton, who's going to be gone, and who knows with Tomlinson, and who knows because Dwayne Brown's retired. I mean, dude, this whole line better be the priority of this entire offseason. And I mean draft, I mean free agency, I mean future picks if we have to at this point. Because if this does not work next year, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and all the young kids are going to look around and say, no state taxes for the Texans with C.J. Stroud. That's going to look a little more tempting to me right now than having to go against Tuna Fish and Mike McDaniel, and who knows with Josh Allen. And then who knows, maybe the Patriots get a good young coach like Ben Johnson or something if he likes the whole New England way. Who knows? I'm just telling you right now, this is my subtle way of being very upset because this is what I've said all year the second Rodgers went down and I left the game in that second quarter. I knew the delusion was going to kick in and the reality was going to set in at some point the next day that the season was over.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree. I don't know if there's a way out of this whole thing with Salah and Douglas. Can we get our doors kicked in and they will kick him out? Because I agree with you. I don't think I trust this regime with the next quarterback. And Rodgers already committed 2 years. I think this is the best opportunity you could ask for. Hey, you get Rodgers right now. Jim Harbaugh, you want to come in here? GM and head coach title. Come on in. We got Zach Wilson right now. I think they'd bring back Zach Wilson if you change head coaches. I think there would be a shot at that happening because they might gamble on the fact that the coaching staff is so inept that maybe that number 2 overall pick could be something. We're already paying him anyway. I think there's an outside shot at that.
Are you saying if Jim Harbaugh came here, he would keep Zach Wilson? Is that what you're saying?
For a year, yeah, because I don't think he'd draft his quarterback this year. I think he's rolling with Rodgers and then having the mold of Clay because he likes the mobile quarterback. It probably wouldn't work out, but I would think based on Rodgers' decision to say he wants to come back for more than 2 years, goodbye Gardner Minshew, goodbye Jacoby Brissett. All those top tier backups are not coming here because they don't have the shot to be the heir after Rodgers. I think Zach is going to end up being the best case scenario for the Jets because of how he knows the offense going into next year, than the best backup we can get that wants to be a backup, if that makes sense. I mean, maybe that's wrong, but like, I don't know if we're going to get the top backups here next year. I really don't.
Ryan, you have to make that a priority. I mean, if Zach Wilson is the
I
backup
agree.
next year, I will rain holy hell on this franchise if this kid is backing up Rodgers again. And if Rodgers is injured by week 2 or 3, God forbid, and this little run is throwing again, I mean, what's the next excuse? You know, that he needs a nicer apartment to like sleep better at night. I mean, it's just, and the fact is like Jim Harbaugh already has his Zach Wilson and JJ McCarthy. If I'm going to agree with you on anything, it's like, okay, maybe it's that same kind of like little baby face, like doesn't throw the ball much, kind of quarterback mobile. No, because I've watched Michigan. They're going to get their doors blown in by Alabama. I'm telling you right now. They're going to get absolutely
Jake, I need some
destroyed.
positivity. I got to inject you.
You're out of
I had to listen. But I went way over the 2 minutes. Silvano, how you doing, brother?
Good. How's it going? Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear. How you feeling today?
Nice. I guess first thing I want to say is that watching Joe Flacco throw that touchdown to Elijah Moore, that really hurt. That really hurt to see that, because I was just kind of like, fuck, like, excuse my language, but we had both those guys, and to see them, be successful on the other side of the ball it just stings.
Dude, it kills me. 2 wins. I've been saying it for a while. 2 wins separates us from Nick Bosa and Trevor Lawrence, and probably keeping Elijah Moore, having an extra 2 second-round picks from the Rodgers trade, and $75 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad, but honestly, at this point, they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna get rid of Salah. I don't think they're gonna get rid of Douglas. Hackett's gonna stay there one more year to see what they can do with Rodgers. The best thing to do right now, I think, is go get Devontae Adams.
Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up assets for him.
We're gonna get Devontae Adams. We gotta get some linemen in the draft.
Dude, we're getting Bakhtiari. It's gonna be all the Packers. It's gonna be Bakhtiari. It's gonna be Runyon. That'll be our left tackle, left guard. You're gonna have Tippmann at center. You're gonna have AVT at right guard, and then you're gonna draft a tackle, probably Latham in the first round. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean that I don't know. Something's telling me the way the Jets are, man. I think they're gonna go and spend the money, and they're gonna get Adams.
Dude, it's like, that's what scares me, because Joe Douglas is going to spend his draft picks in the future. Like, I think the 2025 first is clearly on the table to try and make whatever moves happen that he needs to make happen, and I am not cool with that. I don't want to trade the 2025 first.
I will say one thing. I really like that guy from Notre Dame, the quarterback for Notre Dame. I think he's going to go really, like, maybe he might go in like the 3rd round, or something, and I think that would be a good pickup for us.
I would like to draft, especially if they're going to move off of Zach, I would like to add some type of 3rd or 4th round quarterback, a guy with a high upside. I'm open. I'm open to a few different ideas on which direction they could go. I really wanted to get like a Brissett, someone that could come in after Rodgers. If Rodgers only played for 1 year, but Rodgers committing to more than 1 year tells me that we're not going to have that backup quarterback that's at like top tier, like that Gardner Minshew or Brissett. They're going to go somewhere that they have a shot to start. I don't think that happens.
Absolutely.
Here.
Absolutely.
Silvano, thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. All right, boys and girls, we've been doing this for about an hour now. I want to get to Douglas's super chat. He says, when is the XFL USFL merger official? I need another team to root for instead of this dumpster fire shit show. Dude, I'm going to be sitting here watching, I think it's this offseason when it happens. Either this offseason or next offseason. I would sit and watch some of the XFL games. Can't really change Jets talk to anything else, but I'll sit and watch some other games. I usually start streaming the bowl games around this time. We'll start looking at some of the draft prospects. We'll be doing all that. All right, boys and girls, we have over 400 votes in our poll question. Should Woody change his mind and fire the whole regime? 78% of you said yes. The New York Jets should fire the regime, and they should move off of Douglas and Salah. Boys and girls, I'm going to leave you with this. That win last week is going to cost us the 3 pick. I was frustrated with it before. Still frustrated with it now. And everyone's coming back. Boys and girls, this is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.